Every single different social media platform has different requirements for what makes their algorithm tick and what content they will promote. And one of those factors is how many times you should post on that platform. And because all of these platforms are owned by different companies and they're all trained on different data sets by different engineers, they're all just a little bit different. So I just want to go through and talk about how many times that we at Laney Media post on each platform. Now we've tried everything from posting, a couple times a week up to 10 times a day on the vast majority of these platforms. And this does affect your reach on the individual platforms. It does affect your average views per piece of content posted. It does affect how often you can go viral. So we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to start off with Pinterest. Now, if you're posting pins, you can typically start out safely posting up to 10 pins per day and work your way up to as much as 30. Sometimes I've seen people post as much as 50 pins per day. And as long as you work up to it and you're just not spamming, they're all individualized, they all make sense, they're all going on boards, and you're following what the platform actually wants you to do, that's totally fine. When it comes to idea pins, you can typically post 1 to 2 of those a day on Pinterest, and that is fine. And an idea pin, for those who don't know, it's just kind of like a TikTok video. It's their version of taking a pin and turning vertical content into a pin for their platform. The next one I want to cover is X and or Threads. These two platforms are eerily similar, even though they're owned by two different companies that are arguably rivals, and they typically follow the same approach of it doesn't really matter how much you post, it's not going to penalize you for that. And one of the big strategies that tons of content creators use, and you've probably seen other content creators talk about this strategy as well, is using that to test different ideas. And if an idea gets traction on Threads or on X/Twitter, they will take that and repurpose it into short form content, long form content, podcast material, which that's a great way to go about it. It's excellent. We haven't particularly tested posting tons of video on either of those platforms. X is more favorable to video than Threads is, but there doesn't seem to be a correlation between not posting video and or posting video, especially since Elon took over X. We get to Instagram. Instagram is a beast. And there's different types of content. There's several things we've noticed, starting with stories. If you post one story a day, you're probably going to get about 5 to 10x the views you get on a normal story. So if you want more of your audience to see one particular slide, it's usually better to let your stories die off so they go to zero, let them reset, and then post that one slide. So this is great for announcements, launches, other stuff like that. Other than that, and I'm in the camp of posting consistently on stories is better, because even though you might, let's say if you post one a day, you'll get 1,000 views on it, versus if you're posting 10 a day, you might only get 200 views per story. But 200 views per story times 10, 2,000 views versus 1,000 views, you might have the question of if it's the same audience or if it's a different audience that you're reaching, depending on what the overlap is on those 200 views per post. And that can be both good and bad depending on which way it goes. But I tend to lean into the camp of overall, if you reach more people, you're going to be able to have a greater effect, a greater influence on them as well. When it comes to posting on your home feed, Instagram typically likes to see up to one a day. It really doesn't like more than one a day currently. And it's kind of weird because the home feed right now is in this weird phase. And if you've noticed on your own home feed, you've probably seen like the follow button next to a bunch of content you've never seen before in your life. And that's because it doesn't really recommend content from your followers anymore. It's kind of like an extended explore page and an easier to consume format. Now, Reels, that's where the majority of views, traffic, and let's be real, money is coming from on Instagram currently. And you can post up to one of those a day. If you post more than one a day, we've had videos do well when we've posted more than one a day, but it typically does not like that. It typically likes to see one a day. Usually, 3 to 5 a week is a happy spot. I like to be really consistent on there, and we usually get more views when we post once a day. YouTube Shorts is a fascinating platform. I've been getting a lot of good growth when I post one long form video and one short per day. I am a growing channel though. Kenda has for almost, I think, 5,000 subscribers now on her channel. So not a lot, but more than me. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, be sure to do that. It helps me grow. and obviously catch up with my wonderful wife. She typically posts 2 to 3 long form videos per week and a short per day. The big thing on YouTube Shorts, obviously, is make sure you have a good title and good SEO. It tends to lean towards long form video tactics as well. It YouTube also has another great analytic feature that came out that says percentage view, like who view your video versus percentage who swiped away. You usually need over 60% of people to view your video in order for it to go viral. The other thing is average watch time needs to be a lot higher. It needs to be almost 100% on YouTube for a video to go, quote, viral compared to other platforms where you can have a much lower average view duration but still go viral like TikTok. And that brings us actually, in fact, to TikTok. TikTok, a lot of people say post 1 time a day, post 3 times a day, post a billion times a day. It's kind of like X in the fact that it doesn't care as long as you're posting quality content. If you're spamming it, it will throttle your videos, especially if your content doesn't do well or if you don't have an audience that will watch your content. If you have an audience that is watching your content already, you can be a little bit more lenient and get away with putting out worse content and still getting views on that content. So if you post more on TikTok, and as long as you're iterating and making your content better, you will typically see growth. In fact, some of the biggest creators on TikTok have seen the most growth from when they in fact have done that. And I think lastly on my list of platforms today is Facebook. Facebook is a wild, wild west now. There's no real rhyme or reason to seeing growth or to seeing videos get views. The only thing that sometimes can help is if you add a title to your reels. But other than that, unless you have like an existing following on TikTok, it can be or not TikTok, on Facebook, it can be very difficult to gain followers and gain viewers on that specific platform. Not impossible, it's just difficult because there's no typical trend that you can follow as far as posting schedules go. And that's it. If you got any value from this video, again, please subscribe. It helps me grow the channel and reach more people to get this information to.